Hi there. My name is Mar, and I'm an escaped abortion attempt. So they tried to abort me, and then I dodged this way, and I dodged like that, and then kind of moved like that, and I moved around, and so they were having difficulty aborting me. So it was unsuccessful. They were unable to do it. So what they decided was because of my mom's religious belief. She was against it, and so they changed their mind, and so they decided to have different people in control of my being raised, if you will, or trained, or whatever they did, educated or parented, or whatever you want to call it. So I had different parents than the initial ones that I think that I was probably born by. So I guess the reason I'm not fully aborted was because of my mother's belief in God, and so that saved my life. So I guess religion can be a good thing in a good way if my being alive is a good thing that I'm not an abortion. So I kind of have strong feelings about abortion almost being one myself, you know, and this is a true story. I would like to make one up. I would like to make a bunch of interesting, exciting stories, but this is just the real truth. So I'm a failed abortion attempt. So otherwise I would have ended up being an abortion, and I don't know. That wouldn't have been for the better because life has been pretty interesting and I've had a pretty interesting journey. But as far as abortion goes, see, they're playing it one way. They're saying like it's the woman's choice, and all these women are saying it's my choice and it's my body and this and that, and I decide or whatever. And so if they kill me, why I'm 3 months old, or they murder me when I'm 7 months old, or they murder me when I'm 8 months old. So they're legally they're murdering somebody. Basically, is what they're doing. I mean, I if I was 3 months old and they asked me, do I want to get murdered? I'm not going to say yes. I mean, now in my life, as old as I am, as long as I've lived, I've survived a lot of homicide attempts. I'm not going to go into detail about my life in the detail, but I've had a lot of attempts on my life outside the womb. So inside the womb, like at 3 or 4 months, if you would have asked me, would I want to be an abortion? Would I want to be terminated? And the answer would be no. And then right now, if you ask me, would I want to be terminated? The answer would be no, or otherwise I would be terminated. I would have let the people that tried to terminate me, which is a whole, that's another story. But anyway, so I could have been aborted. And so to me, it's kind of like murdering somebody. It's just they're inside somebody. And so they're saying, well, I have a choice to legally kill somebody up to 9 months old. But then if they're 1 year old, why can't you just blow their head off, or I guess America, you blow their head off, or poison them, or whatever you do, or why not at 20 years old say I'm not happy with the way my kid turned out, so I'm gonna abort them at 20. Or 15 years old, they're not doing good grades in their school, and they're working on dating too much, the dating scene and all that. So I'm gonna abort them then. I mean, or they're 40 years old, and I'm not happy with the way things are going. why not abort them then? I mean, why have a term limit on abortion if it's going to be from a day from conception till you terminate them or whatever? So I consider this basically as murder, pretty much. You know, if they didn't exercise the precaution to prevent the pregnancy from occurring, then that's on them. And they have to deal with it, and they should deal with it responsibility. And I think they had to fight, first of all those little spermies, they had to fight like crazy. I mean, they were fighting each other, they were telling each other jokes, they were probably doing stand-up comedy while other sperms were swimming around them. And then the other sperms were fighting, and I don't know what it was exactly like. I think I was probably the fastest swimmer because I was a really good swimmer. So I just swam straight there, straight to the egg. So it was how I got there and all that stuff. But anyway, so um, now later on in life, in my 20s, my mid 20s, I was worth about $3 million, I think, in assets, and I had a girlfriend, and I was worth about 3 million. So I had plenty of money. So money wasn't an issue for anything. My girlfriend disappears. At the time, the girl I was dating, she just disappears, like ghosts me, like no phone call. This is years and years ago. This is a long time ago. She just disappears for about a month. And then she gets a hold of me again. And she's like, well, do you know what I did? And I go, no. And I was kind of curious what happened to you and why you were gone. And, I called her parents, and they kind of gave me the runaround, like they didn't know where she was or what she was up to or anything. So I let it sit, and then I didn't contact the police or report her missing or anything like that. And what she did was she aborted my child. So she got an abortion against my consent. So I had the money. I was worth $3 million at the time. I had the money, and I had the assets, and actually it doesn't make sense. It's like, why would she abort the child if there's tons of money? Like, if the guy has money, if money is not an option, which in some cases it is. Some people base their decision on it being the money and all that. So when they say with these big, it's my body and my decision, I'm a woman and it's my right. What about me? It was my sperm that created that kid that my girlfriend went off and murdered. She murdered my kid. I didn't find out whether it was a boy or a girl or a try or whatever it was. I just know that my child was terminated, was aborted against my will. So if she would have approached me before and said, I want to get an abortion, I probably would have said no. I probably would have said no. So she went against my wishes. So it takes two to play, It takes two to get, for the woman to get pregnant and all that stuff. So this pro-choice, and it's my body and I'm a woman and I have fully control over my body and all that stuff. They seem to forget that the guy produced the kid, unless she went through artificial insemination, through a place to get that done. So unless she went out of her way to have that stuff done, she murdered that kid. In my eyes, she murdered that kid. So it's my right to kill somebody. So that's murder. You're taking a life. And she took whatever it was, my son or my daughter's life, when I had money and I had assets to raise the kids. So this abortion issue when I see all these women saying, "Oh, it's a woman's choice and it's my body and it's my choice." Why don't they tell the full part of the story? Because the guy's sperm plays half of that picture, plays half of that dynamic. And I actually had half in the say, and she didn't even tell me about the situation. She just went off and murdered the child, aborted the child, or whatever. And so they think that between 1 and 9 months that it's not murder. That's what they rationalize it as, you know. So I don't even want to go there about how I really feel about that. I don't even want to express those feelings. But other than that, I was willing to go out of my way to upload. So when they say it's not the woman's choice, it's both people's choices. It's not just a woman's choice. And in some cases, I've known that of people that have gotten abortions. One of my exes, her and her husband at the time, or boyfriend at the time, they both went in. They mutually made a decision to terminate the child. I guess would be a polite way to put it. To terminate the life, but if you, it's kind of like if you do something, you assume responsibility for something, then you should pay for the consequences of your action. I'm not saying you should pull a guilt trip on somebody for making a math mistake or making mistakes in life or whatever. I mean, sometimes people get horny, or it's a normal human thing to have a libido and have a sexual drive, and then, but if you don't use common sense, and especially now, it's different. Like, I lived in the free love days when everybody was just, it was a free for all. Everybody was boning everybody, to talk about it in those words. Everybody was having sex with everybody. So that was standard. It was women's rights and women's free live and all that, and they could sleep with whoever they want, however they want to sleep around or whatever. And so everybody was sleeping with everybody. It was kind of like a big orgy. When I was growing up, it was like a big party, big orgies. Our high school had orgies. We had huge parties. We had beer parties and drug parties and all kinds of parties. But that's a different story and all that. But so uh, this abortion thing is complicated, and I don't think it's just like women say, it's my body. They forget about the guy's part, because the guy donated half of the semen to that situation. He donated half, unless she went to a, a sperm bank to get that done. And that means she probably paid money and went out of her way to get that service done in order to have that child because of her instinct to have a baby or whatever. So likely she's not going to terminate a child if she went to that extent to terminate an individual. But then where do you draw the line? Like, is it okay? So once you've produced the living organism, the baby, um, when is it legal to terminate it? Is it 1 month? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? Is it 50 years? I mean, why draw a line? That's what I'm saying. If you're going to make abortion legal and legitimate, why not have it at 1 year old or a year and a half? If you're not happy with the outcome, just terminate then. You know, why have a time limit? If you're gonna end somebody, polish somebody off, uh, uh, kill them or whatever, uh, why have a limit on it? What's the limit? I mean, once you've done that, once you've created a life form, a human, uh, it's murder. It's murder from day one to 50. It's still murder. It's just, I mean, they justify it when it's inside the mother. But like I said, I had the money and everything. I had the resources, and I would have had the child. And she went out behind my back and went and got an abortion without my consent. So, I maybe I legally could have prosecuted her, but that's after the fact. It's done. It's like she terminated like the Terminator. But in the present day sense, she terminated the child that she was pregnant with my child. Yeah, and ironically, she was from a really, really strictly religious family. I'm going to put it out there. She was a Jehovah's Witness. They're like, as far as I know, they're really against doing something like that. And she was a Jehovah's Witness. Her brother was a Jehovah's Witness, and her father was a Jehovah's Witness. I was not a Jehovah's Witness. I am not a Jehovah's Witness. I'm not God's witness. I'm just a person trying to figure out life and going along and trying to do the best I can. I can't figure out God. God is beyond my intelligence or comprehension. I believe that there is I don't want to go off philosophical for 20,000 minutes, you know, because I don't have the answer and I'm not God. So I'm not God, and I don't have the answer for everything. I just know that there is probably a supreme being or a God of some sort that I will never fully understand. I'm not going to try to fully understand, but I understand some morals, morality, and all that stuff. And so this it's my choice and it's my body. She went and she killed my child, and I had the money and the resources. I was worth about $3 million in assets at that time to support and raise that child, and she just went and aborted it. So it's the man's decision, and then the time limit. It's like, well, one day, 9 months, 8 months, 6 months, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years. And you terminate them like 99 years old. You're like, I finally decided I want to abort you. So it's senseless. It's taking a human life. That's the way I look at it. And I think that in my case, I didn't have the say. So I guess I would consider that like murder. Yeah, that's what it is. I'll call it what it is. It's murder. It's just murder before it's come out into the air and started breathing on its own, separate of its mother. I'm going to call it what it is. It's murder. Period. It's justified murder. Murder is what it is. Okay, there's variables, right? Okay, the woman was raped, incest, horrible things happen. Horrible things have happened to me that I don't want to go off into my own story, but I'll just put it simple. I've had evil inflicted on me, and because I had evil inflicted on me, that's where the evil stopped. I had a choice at that point. Either become an evildoer and continue to do evil. I'm saying this out of a religious context. I'm just using that wordage of good, evil, bad, right, this and that, or whatever. But I had a choice in my life. If I wanted to go down the path of becoming a mean, vicious person and be cruel and horrible person to other people like I had done to me, or did I want to separate myself and from that environment? of those people I was involved with. So, anyways, I had a choice of my life and all that stuff, and yeah. So, with the abortion thing, I don't need to repeat it another time. I've said enough about it, and that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion from my experience about it and how I feel about it, and that I could have been terminated or murdered myself, and if I would have had the choice at 3 months old to not be murdered and not be terminated, I wouldn't be. And I've had plenty of people try that later on in life, and luckily I survived those attempts. So, yeah, that's it on that.